Welcome back to another Rotation Hoops video. If you guys like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. I will really appreciate it. But today, I just want to talk about a few teams who has been highly disappointing so far throughout the season. There has been multiple teams. There's been teams just doing completely bad, and I just want to let you guys know about a few teams who I believe who has been the most disappointing, or not. I don't even want to say the most, but it just needs to be talked about. The Boston Celtics, as of recent, has been struggling. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Kemba Walker can never seem to have an amazing game with each other at the same time. At the recording of the video, they are at the 4th seed with an 18-17 record, but you can obviously see the problems with his teams. Robert Williams has been playing amazing as of recently, and he is going to be a big piece of this team as it looks like at the moment. But we don't know what's happening with this team because a little bit earlier in the season, they have been struggling badly, and recently they are starting to pick it up. But with them being barely over 500, that is their problem. The Eastern Conference has especially been weak this year, and it is very top heavy with the Sixers, Brooklyn Nets. Even just a few days ago, if you guys haven't seen my last video, I did make a video about this, but they were behind the Knicks. The Knicks were the 4th seed, and yes, the Celtics retook the 4th seed, but they were behind the Knicks. And I'm not saying the Knicks are bad, because that's obviously not the case. But they were struggling badly, especially with Kemba Walker not playing like Kemba Walker, and especially how he's being paid. Yes, they have had injuries and losing an important piece of the team like Marcus Smart, but this is unacceptable. And this team has been struggling mightily, and I had high hopes for them coming into this season, but especially after this, I don't know what to expect from this team. This team can bounce back in the next few weeks or the rest of the season. I am expecting them to make the playoffs, of course, but can they beat teams like the Bucks? Can they beat teams like the Nets? Can they beat teams like the Sixers? Because they have the talent to do it, but can they do it? That's the problem. Hey, can they even beat teams like the Heat, who did make a playoff run last season, but we all know they've been struggling also. But yeah, I don't know what to expect from this team, and hopefully it picks up. And speaking of the Miami Heat, they will be the next team we will be talking about. This team is under 500 with a 17-18 record, and the main problem with this team is they've been hit with injuries. They've been hit with just people or key pieces missing a ton of games. Like Jimmy Butler at the start of the season, he missed a lot of games. Avery Bradley missed a lot of games. Tyler Hero missed a few. I don't know what to expect from this team either, because if we all know last year they made a finals run and they did lose to the eventual champions in the Los Angeles Lakers, which was expected. But this team had a lot of high hopes coming into this season, knowing they just made a finals run and beat teams like the Bucks, the Celtics. And I don't know. This team is the 7th seed. The Knicks are in front of them. And Toronto was one of the worst teams at the beginning of the season, if you remember. But now they're the 5th seed. And I was expecting the Heat to eventually come back. But they are winning games now. But I don't know if this team can hold up that winning mentality they had from last season. Because, in my opinion, they should have had a lot of high hopes coming into this season. And I believe they did. But the Heat has been not performing like the Miami Heat we all know. And it's going to be a problem. Losing Jay Crowder was a big piece for this team. They didn't want to pay Jay Crowder that extra year in money because they believed they could have went out for free agents like Giannis, maybe even Kawhi. Which Kawhi is still a free agent, but it's not looking good at the moment. It really depends how the Clippers seasons go for Kawhi, but Kawhi is really the only viable piece in 2021's free agency for them. But Jay Crowder would have especially helped this team out, because if they never lost Jay Crowder, they would be solid, because Jay Crowder isn't a star or anything, but he definitely helps out your team. No matter what team he was on in the past, he always raised their ceiling. Bam Adebayo has been playing out of his mind, but it has not been leading to wins, or as many wins as we expected. I am expecting this team to pick it up, but when the playoffs comes around, I don't know what's going to happen. Can they make the same finals run? Who knows? The Minnesota Timberwolves are always an interesting team to talk about. They always have the pieces to win, but when it comes to actually winning, we never get that result. And adding pieces like D'Angelo Russell was very expected to help out this team. But at the recording of this video, they have only played a total of 5 games together, in which of Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell. That just shows you how the Timberwolves season has gone so far. And yes, Karl Anthony Towns has been going through a lot of personal issues that I'm not going to say is his fault, because of course it's not. But overall, in the Timberwolves franchise, there's a lot of issues going around, because Anthony Edwards has been playing amazing for them so far as a rookie. And we just don't ever see the results from this team. And pieces on this team like Malik Beasley, again, D'Angelo Russell, Karl Anthony Towns are always going to be fun to watch. Hey, especially even Anthony Edwards. He had this amazing dunk that we all seen over social media, but I don't know what's going to happen with this team. I am expecting moves. Hey, if this continues, I don't expect Karl Anthony Towns to stay, but we just have to wait and see what happens. The Atlanta Hawks are a very good team, but when it comes to the win column, there's going to be a problem. They are currently the 11th seed in the Eastern Conference with a 15-20 record, and especially with the Eastern Conference being weak as it is right now, if you asked anybody in the offseason what are they expecting from this Hawks team, they would have told you they should be making the playoffs. Trae Young has the pieces around him to be great, but it's not leading to wins. We don't know what's going to happen with that John Collins situation, but it's not looking good for the Hawks. When you think about this team having Trae Young, John Collins, Clint Capella, who has been playing out of his mind so far and is not getting the attention he deserves, and especially other pieces like Rajon Rondo, who hasn't been playing the best, but I believed he would help this team greatly. It's just surprising to see where the state this team is at. If you would have asked anybody, they would have told you this team should have been great. But we aren't seeing the results. Their head coach was fired recently, and it was replaced with a veteran coach in Nate McMillan. But is he really going to help this team out with the problems they need? In the 2021 offseason, I am expecting big moves from this team, or big changes at the very least. The Washington Wizards has always been an amazing team to talk about, but not in the way they want. Bradley Beal has been playing out of his mind, who is also an all-star starter. But if you would have asked anybody if they saw this coming from the Washington Wizards, they would have told you absolutely not. And if you look back on that John Wall and Russell Westbrook trade, even though John Wall and the Rockets are losing badly, they're on a 12-game losing streak right now, and they are playing the Brooklyn Nets at the moment, so it might turn into 13. But if you would have asked anybody when the Russell Westbrook and John Wall trade went down, especially the fact that the Rockets got a first-round pick back, but they would have told you at the beginning of the year that the Wizards won the trade, mainly for the fact that Russell Westbrook was a sure thing, and we haven't seen John Wall play in 2 years. But now looking back on it, it looks like the John Wall contract and that first round pick might have been better. And yes, it's not helping that Christian Wood is injured for the Rockets and they're on a horrible losing streak now. But I am highly disappointed on watching this team. I was expecting much more, but we got not that. And the pieces around this team is alright. And I was expecting them to be in the playoffs, especially now that they still have Bradley Beal and replace an injured John Wall with Russell Westbrook. But again, it's the same result. They're one of the last teams in the Eastern Conference, and it has been highly disappointing to watch. With all that being said, that will be the end of today's video, and I would like to thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to leave a comment on other teams I might have missed. There are other teams I do have in mind, but these are the ones I wanted to talk about today. But with that being said, I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.